T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler. He's your only black friend, so he's your best black friend. Because black friends are rare, as you should be aware. He smiles like Richard Pryor, so just sit and stare. It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler. It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler. It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a live show right now. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been like a long time since I done a live stream or a video or any kind, because as of lately, it seemed as though that I had like a lot of drama behind the scenes, and personally, I did not want to broadcast the drama behind the scenes, because literally, what happened to me about 5 weeks ago on TikTok has been really crazy. Largely because I posted a video on TikTok that got so incredibly viral. Because during that month when I posted that video on TikTok, what happened was I basically drew, of course, the Prophet Muhammad, right? Because basically during that day, it was actually Draw Muhammad's Day, and I decided to, of course, do that in honor of free speech. And of course, that video blew up tremendously on TikTok. And so it got to the point where there was like a lot of different people actually responding to my video who were Muslims, and they did not necessarily like the video in the slightest. As a matter of fact, some of them had like hundreds and hundreds of comments towards me that basically said that I'm gonna find you and blah 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 blah. So what happened 5 weeks later, right? And I'm not even joking or exaggerating, by the way. This is not a joke right now. I literally had to talk to people from the FBI about this. Basically, what they were saying was that there was some sort of group located somewhere in Pakistan, and basically, what they wanted to do was to send out my personal information out there because they felt so offended by the video. And of course, I had to use like a VPN for like a long period of time because they felt really offended just because I drew the drawing of the Prophet Muhammad. And so for like a whole entire months and months and months, I had to stop, of course, doing everything. And so I'm back right now. I feel much more safe. And today I have like a lot of stories to talk about. So without further hesitation, let's talk about the various types of stories that's been going on across the world, because I honestly think that's what's been on across the world has been you can say really, really crazy. So what's happening on Iran right now has been really crazy, largely because a 22-year-old Iranian woman actually dies after being severely beaten by the mortality police over a hijab law. So basically, for those who have no idea, Iran is pretty much an Islamic theocracy, and pretty much everybody is required underneath the law to, of course, have Sharia for all the citizens. And of course, there's like a lot of videos that I'm going to play to show you guys the absolute, you can say, gravity about what's happening in Iran with the protests. So let's see some of the videos and let's see what's happening. Now, this video, what I play right now, are basically a bunch of protesters in Iran that are burning pretty much the hijab because, like I said earlier in the whole entire live stream, was that basically like a woman actually died because she decided not to have the hijab on. And so the massive amount of protests going on right now in Iran is largely based upon the death of that woman. And here's like a few other videos that I have on my playlist. That way, you can guys have a better understanding about what's happening in Iran when it comes down to, of course, like, what they're doing. Actually, this is like a repeat of like I guess you can say the clip that I had before. So let's find something different to show you guys right now. I'm gonna load it up right now because like what's happening there is like, you can say is like really, really crazy. Right here. So here's like another clip from like Iran. Now, this clip again seems to be on broad daylight, and like a lot of people again are just like right now just burning the hijab right here. And we're just gonna have some more clips right here. I think there's like another clip that I had where basically like a man was like looking for like I guess there's like men that were actually telling like the everyone women to put on the hijab, and they actually refused to put on hijab. So here you go, like the clip about like what they were doing right here.
بگو 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 دیگه جرأت داری بگو شهید دادید عکس از من بگیری ببین چه بلایی سرت بیارم بله سرت کن کسافت به تو ربطی نداره به تو ربطی نداره به تو ربطی نداره به تو ربطی نداره تو برو گم بیادب حکم خداست حجاب باید کنید وظیفتون رو رعایت کنید شما اگر تو خونت بودی هر کاری دوست داشتی میتونستی خونم چیه آقا من تو کشور زندگی میکنم خونم همینجاست شما نمیتونی به من بگی اینجا باید بی حجاب باشه اونجا باید من هر جوری دلم بخواد میخوام لباس بپوشم دوست ندارید حجاب اجباری داشته باشید تشریف ببرید با خانم مسئله نجات بگیرید.
As you guys can see, like a lot of bunch of like men who are the mortality like police. What they're trying to do is just stop the girls from actually, of course, you can say not have the hijab on because basically that goes against the Islamic rules. Now, there are like a lot of apologists that I noticed for like the last few days that are basically claiming that, of course, all of this stuff with the hijab, with the veil, it has nothing to do with the religion of peace because obviously anything that goes against the religion of peace must be like like a really, really bad thing. It's a bad PR. And all these people who are going against, of course, like, this sort of stuff are obviously Islamophobes, right? Well, basically, when it comes down to, you can say, Islamic sources about what they actually think about when it comes down to modesty, is like, not very great when it comes down to both the Quran and the Hadith. So let's see the exact verses of the Quran and the Hadith to show you guys, like, what exactly does it say in their ancient texts. So it's loading up right now. It's gonna probably, come in like a few seconds. So yeah, it's coming. Pretty sure it's coming right here. So the exact verse from the Quran. Now this comes directly from Quran chapter 24, verse 31 to like 30. So and it's still loading right now. I guess like the computer did not want to work right here. So here it is right here. I found it. Okay, so, oh my God. So right here it says, "O Prophet, tell the believing women to lower their gaze and guard their chastity. This is pure for them. Surely Allah is all aware of what they do." and tell the believing women to lower their gaze and guard their chastity, and not to reveal their adornments except when normally appears. Let them draw their veils over their chests and not reveal the hidden adornments, except for their husbands, their fathers, their father-in-laws, their sons, their stepsons, their brothers' sons or sisters' sons, their fellow women, those bondswomen in their possession, male attendants with no desire, or children who are still unaware of women's nakedness. Let us not stump their feet, drawing attention to their hidden adornments. Turn to Allah and repeating this altogether, all believers, that you may be successful. So again, this comes directly from Quran chapter 24, verse 30 to 31. And it also says right here, like another verse that also talks about modesty when it comes down to, you can say, issue about wanting to, of course, wear the veil. It says in chapter, verse 33, 54, it says, O Prophet, enjoy your wives and your daughters and the believing women to draw a part of their outing coverings around them. It is likelier that they will be recognized, not being molested. Allah is most forgiving, most merciful. So again, right here, it says, I want to repeat it again, that, of course, to draw a part of their outlet coverings around them. So basically it's saying that Islamic women are pretty much required to have like the veils. Now, the final source that I have when it comes down to this whole entire matter for like the whole hijab thing comes directly from Sahih Bukhari, which is like, one of the hadith collection that's like the most trusted collection of hadith when it comes down to Islam. So it says right here, Aisha used to say when the verse they should draw their veil over their neck and bosoms was revealed, the ladies cut out their waist sheaths at the edges and covered their heads and face with those cut up pieces of cloth. So again, right here it says that basically, according to like the Islamic text, that of course women are pretty much required to wear the veil. I have not seen like a single feminist talking about this issue. I looked and looked and looked on various types of social media, and not a single feminist that I've seen so far have been talking about this issue that's happening and are wrong. Because I remember like a long time ago, right? There was like the Women's March. And the Women's March, they had like this woman with a hijab that had the American flag. Yet at the same time, like they have not, of course, took down that image from what I can tell, and not a single one that I've seen have ever actually condemn or actually talk about this issue. So I don't understand how could first wave the feminists in the West talk about these other issues that are first world problems, but not talk about the issues that really matter when it comes down to this, like the whole entire issue about women. That just does not make any sort of sense to me. Now, when it comes down to, of course, like other videos that I saw that was really, really crazy, was this video about like a baby with a hijab. Because everybody pretty much knows that Islamic women don't necessarily have a choice when it comes down to the matter of having a hijab on. And looks like the tweet is not there actually. So I guess the video has been taken down. But like there was like a video where basically like a woman had like a baby had like a hijab on. So I cannot show you guys the video, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I cannot have the video right there. But what's also interesting too is that when it comes down, of course, the whole notion about like the hijab is that basically it's like a sexual item. They're saying that men obviously gonna lust over women, gonna lust over girls, unless of course they themselves have the whole entire covering on. But that simply is not true. That's just simply not true. Because basically it does not necessarily matter if if a man actually, of course, like sees somebody with the hijab on or not. Like a rapist is still gonna rape no matter what kind of outfit you have on. And so to me, when I heard like stories about like these little babies or kids having a hijab on, that to me is a form of indoctrination. It's a form of indoctrination. Now, when it comes down to the whole entire notion about marriage, like there's like no such, of course, condemnation of like the age for marriage for when it comes down to Islamic stuff. It says right here for this Islamic apologetic sect right here that it's permissible for a man to arrange a marriage for his young son, even though he has not reached puberty. It is also permissible for him to arrange a marriage for his young daughter, even though she has not reached the age of puberty. It has been narrated that it was a consent on this point, but its provided compatibility is taken into account that a clear and real intent served by this marriage. In other words, it's perfectly okay for a father to have like a baby get married if he wants to, who happens to be a girl. So yeah, Islam is very, very, very nice. It's like the most peaceful religion in the whole entire world. That's obviously a fact. Like everybody needs to stop having Islamophobia. You guys need to obviously know that it's actually peaceful. So anyway,
whereas we, the church, are God's governing body on the earth.
I'm sorry right here. I am so sorry. But this video right here, I'm going to show like a series of videos of Christian nationalism. Well, it's fun to poke fun at the idea of Islamic theocracies. In my personal country right now, like there are some people that want to mix like the church and the state together. And of course, let's see some videos about like what's happening right now in my country too.
Earth. Whereas we have been given legal power from heaven and now exercise our authority, whereas we are God's ambassadors and spokespeople over the earth, whereas through the power of God, we are the world influencers, whereas because of our covenant with God, we are equipped and delegated by Him to destroy every attempted advance of the enemy. We make our declarations. We decree that America's executive branch of government will honor God and defend the Constitution. We decree that our legislative branch, Congress, will write only laws that are righteous and constitutional. We decree that our judicial system will issue rulings that are biblical and constitutional. We declare that we stand against wokeness, the occult, and every evil attempt against our nation.
That it is so freaking crazy. This is like so cult-like. Holy crap. Okay, let me leave some of the comments right here. Okay. So Christian nationalists are the guys that want to get rid of individual rights. Yes, they are, man. Yes, 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 they are. They literally believe that, of course, like America was meant to be a Christian nation and that we should not have any sort of separation of church and state. So here's like more videos that I have right now to show you guys. Like it's not necessarily the Democrats that are promoting these ideas. These are actually Republicans that are promoting the ideas of Christian nationalism. So we're gonna have like a few more videos looking at the Christian nationalists that's happening in my country, because all of this stuff that's happening right now is really crazy. Now this person is actually like Lauren Borbert, and this is like the exact quotation that she actually have right now.
The reason we had so many overreaching regulations in our nation is because the church complied. The church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk that's not in the Constitution. It was in a stinking letter, and it means nothing like what they say it does. The reason we had
These people are like, super insane. This obviously goes against the very idea of the whole entire notion of the Constitution. First and foremost, for the First Amendment of the Constitution, right? It says that government should not establish any type of religion. And because they actually say that in the Constitution, that's actually the establishment cause when it comes down to the issue of separation of church and state. there are various types of letters, particularly that like the letter from Thomas Jefferson, that basically says that he wants a separation of church and state. There are many, of course, like you can say, various letters done by George Washington, these other kind of people, the founding fathers, that openly criticize the various ideas of Christianity. Like Thomas Paine, right? He was a deist, right? He wrote an entire book like criticizing Christianity, and that book was actually called what was it? The Age of Reason. And so in the Age of Reason, he goes verse by verse, chapter by chapter, just criticizing the Bible. And so a lot of the founding fathers were actually really critical about the ideas of Christianity, and he also promoted the idea of separating the church and the state. And so when they say out loud that there's no such thing as separation of church and state, they are lying to you guys. They're pretty much lying to you guys. No ands, if, or buts about it. As a matter of fact, there's some data that I found that shows that most Republicans actually support the ideas of Christian nationalism. So what we're gonna do is pull up that page about how most Republicans support in the United States as Christian nation. So here we go right here. Nationalists believe as a there's no Christian state is gaining steam on the right. Prominent Republican politicians have made this theme critical to their message to voters and the run up to the 2022 midterm elections. Although appealed to Christian a long tradition in American history, they usually operated on fringes, but increasingly the mainstream appearances of this belief in GOP circles make sense if you look at the new public opinion surveys. Our new University of Maryland Critical Issues poll suggests that declaring the United States a Christian nation as a message that can be broadly embraced by Republicans in the midterms and 2024 presidential race, but our foundings also seen limitations to its appeal, and a long-term Christian nationalism could be a political loser. Our national polls included 2,091 participants carried out on May the 16, 2020, with a margin of error of as plus minus 2.14%. We started asking participants if they believe the Constitution will even allow the United States government to declare the United States a Christian nation. We found that 70% of Americans, including 57% of Republicans and 81% of Democrats, said that the Constitution would not allow such a declaration. Indeed, the First Amendment says Congress cannot neither establish or prohibit the practice of religion. Most respondents say Christian nationalism is unconstitutional. So here's the data right here. It says Republicans will say 43% will allow it. Now 57% will not allow it. Democrats 19%, and of course will not allow it. It's 81%. Would allow for for all respondents 30%, whereas 70% would not allow. It says right here, overall 62% of respondents say that they oppose such a declaration, including 83% of Democrats and 39% of Republicans. Fully 61% of Republicans stated declaring the United States a Christian nation. In other words, even though half of Republicans previously say such a move would be unconstitutional, a majority of GOP voters will still support this declaration. Now, when it comes out to be in favor or opposing Christian nationalism, 61% are in favor of Republicans of Christian nationalism, while 39% actually oppose it. Now, 17% of Democrats are in favor of Christian nationalism, while 83% are against the idea of Christian nationalism. So about basically 62% of the Democrats are against the idea of not Democrats, but both Republican and Democrats are 63% are against it, while 38% of both sides are for it. So basically, when it comes down to the whole entire numbers about you can say being in favor of Christian nationalism, yes, basically the Republicans are really much pushing the idea of Christian nationalism. Now, when it comes down to Spain, there's actually like a lot of crazy stuff that's been happening in Spain. Particularly this one video that I saw where pretty much like the Podemos woman, her name is like, Arimatero. She basically actually advocated for pedophilia. I am not even joking. There's like a video that's super viral right now where she literally says that she's actually in favor of pedophilia. So what I'm gonna do right now is that I'm gonna translate the video for you guys. That way, for those who don't understand Spanish, will understand like the video and exactly what she's saying. So here's the exact video that I'm gonna show you guys. That way, you can get an idea about what she says. So I'm gonna mute the mic and translate for you guys.
Independientemente de quiénes sean sus familias, porque todos los niños, las niñas, les niñas de este país tienen derecho a conocer su propio cuerpo.
Okay, what she said right here is that all boys and girls have a right to know their own bodies.
A saber que ningún adulto puede tocar su cuerpo si ellos no quieren.
That no adult have a right to touch their body if they don't want to.
Si ellos no quieren, y que eso es una forma de violencia.
It is a form of violence.
Tienen derecho a conocer que pueden amar o tener relaciones sexuales con quien les dé la gana.
They have a right to have sexual relationships with anybody that they want to. I am not even joking. Let's repeat the clip and I'll translate it again for you guys because this is exactly what she literally just said right here.
Relaciones sexuales con quien les dé la gana.
They have a right to have sexual relationships with anyone they want to. This is that is like so crazy, man. That is like so crazy. She literally just said that little kids have the right to have consent with adults. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. I'm gonna repeat the clip again, guys. I want to just show you guys the absolute gravity of this clip again. Because, guys, this is not normal. I'm gonna translate it again. That way you guys can fully understand what you literally just said.
Tienen derecho a conocer su propio cuerpo.
They have a right to know their own bodies.
A saber que ningún adulto puede tocar su cuerpo si ellos no quieren.
No adult have a right to touch their body if they don't want to.
Si ellos no quieren, y que eso es una forma de violencia.
And it's a form of violence.
Tienen derecho a conocer que pueden amar o tener relaciones sexuales con quien les dé la gana.
They, as in referring to the children, have a right to have sexual relationships with whoever they want to. So basically, again, like I said earlier, she's literally advocating for pedophilia. She's literally advocating for like pedophilia. Now, this is not the first time that I've seen like this woman that's done like something like, really, really crazy, right? Because honestly, there's like a lot of stuff that's happening in Spain that I just feel as though that needs to be covered a lot in like America right now and other English speaking countries because the political power in Spain right now is too far left. Like I'm not even joking. What they have in Spain right now is literally something that is known as the Ministry of Equality. Now, the Ministry of Equality is pretty much a whole entire feminist lobby group that institutes policies that are pro-feminist and screw up men. And so I'm going to show you guys examples about the Ministry of Equality that's happening in Spain right now. So, this right here is like a body positivity campaign from Spain, right? Now, for the poster, it says right here that summer is also ours. So right here, we have a fat woman right there, and also we have like a lot of people right here. Now, obviously, this whole entire fat, positivity campaign at first glance to like a nothing burger, right? But it seemed as though that the Ministry of Equality in Spain, what they did is that they actually photoshopped like a lot of people on that poster without their own personal consent, right? And so I'm gonna show you guys the original pictures that they actually had for Spain that they used without the model's permissions on Instagram, right? So it's loading up right now. So right here. These are like the pictures that they actually use without their personal consent. And it's kind of loading up right here. So all the pitch like there's like the woman right here that's like the fat white woman, she's from like Brazil. There's like the black woman. Now what's really crazy right here, if you look at that picture, is that the woman right here has a prosthetic leg, but like on the poster right here it shows that they photoshop her leg. That's pretty fucked up. That's so fucked up. Like, how can you possibly use like the image of a prosthetic woman, right? Who has like no leg, who's an amputee, and Photoshop her leg? That is crazy, man. That is so crazy. And of course, we have like the other pictures right here that they use without their own personal consent right here. That is like, really, really crazy. Like, really, really crazy. Like, another example of this sort of craziness from like the Ministry of Equality for Spain is this idea of the yes means yes law in Spain. I'm not even joking. The yes means yes law that they actually pass in Spain right now. So only yes means yes. Spain's tightens consensual sexual law. Spain on Thursday toughened its rape laws, punishing legislation requirement like sexual contact, consent for sex, and a mood driven by its left-wing government, following its notorious gang rape that outraged the country. Okay, it involves a reform of Spain's criminal code that now defines rape as sex without clear consent. Consent is recognized when a person has freely demonstrated through the action which, in the context of the circumstance of the case, clearly expressed the person's will, it says. At last, our country legally recognized that consent is what needs to be at the center of all relationships, says Equality Minister Arimatero. No woman will ever have to prove that violence or intimidation was involved in order for it to be considered to be sexual assault. Until now, rape victims need to prove that they've been subject to violence or intimidation. The issue was at the heart of the notorious 2016 gang rape of an 18-year-old woman by 5 men at the Bull Running Festival in northern Spain. The men who called themselves the Wolfpack were initially convicted of sexual abuse and not rape. Two of the men filmed the assault, during which the woman is shown silent and passive, a fact that judges interpreted as consent. Defined by the absence of violence or intimidation, such an offense carry lighter penalties but no longer exists in the reformed criminal code. Now, this whole entire issue, is really crazy when it comes down to the whole issue about consent. It's like a really, really great area because they're saying that people who do not verbally actually say consent is now rape. And this is like a big problem. Now, the main reason why it's actually a big problem to me is largely for the fact that basically, when it comes down to consent, right, unless the person actually says, like, they don't want to have sex, usually, of course, that's consent for, I guess you can say, having sex, right? Because usually in relationships, right, both the man and the woman don't necessarily have to verbalize exactly that they want to have sex in order to have sex. Because usually they would just kiss each other, they won't say anything, and it happens to have sex, right? Whereas, of course, when you have somebody that, push against like a woman, or a man push out against like a man, or like another woman or whatever, basically that's like a sign that said like a person gonna have sex. And so I don't necessarily say that just because people don't verbalize consent does not mean that it's automatically rape. It's like a really, 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 you say, like, gray area when it comes to this whole entire issue. And so they repealed a law to actually screw over guys and that kind of like, consent law. That's like, I would say, you can say, really crazy to me. But anyway, that's like all the stories that I have for today. That was like, really, really quick. I hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, the world is like really screwed right now. The world is really screwed right now. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day. So take care, everybody. Ciao. It's like really screwed.